how to love our God and how to love our brothers and sisters. On Valentine's Day, we see couples throughout the world celebrating love towards each other. But that is not the only type of love. According to the Greek philosophy, there are three main types of love. In Greek, we call them eros, philia, and agape. Eros is the romantic or sexual form of love. People experience this intimate form of love in a romantic relationship or in their married life. This is not something impure. However, Eros love is between a man and woman and should lead them to the whole union of marriage. Secondly, philia is the form of brotherly love. It is a noble form of love not involving sex. A person can feel philos love towards another because of their pleasantness or because of their goodness. Loving our family members, friends, relatives, neighbors, all these fall into this category. Finally, there is another type of love which transcends all the above. It is agape love. It can be explained as unconditional love or selfless love that is ready to sacrifice oneself for the other. This is the purest kind of love. Agape is seeking others' well-being without expecting anything in return. Agape is the very nature of God, and the world needs more agape love. In today's gospel, Jesus Christ gives us the greatest commandment of love. Since Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees approached Jesus with the question of the law. One of them asked Jesus, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment of the law?" There were more than 600 different prescriptions and laws in the Jewish law. Now, these lawyers are asking Jesus, what is the most central thing? Jesus showed them the golden commandment of love. We are called to love God with our whole heart, whole mind and soul, and also to love our neighbor as ourselves. Jesus wanted to stress the direct relationship between love of God and love of neighbor. All the rest of the laws are based on these two. Love of God and love of neighbor are like two hinges on which the entire law is hung. We cannot claim that we love God if we do not love our neighbors. If one doesn't love his visible neighbors, yet he claims that he loves the invisible God, then he is a big liar. Today's first reading from Exodus reminds Israelites that they should love their neighbors. It highlights that they should especially love those who are poor and helpless. Lord very strictly tells them that if they oppress strangers, widows, orphans and the poor, they have no relationship with Him. Lord also tells that He listens to the cry of those who are weak and oppressed. In this manner, first reading recommends us to nurture attitudes of goodness and compassion to those fragile, weak and broken persons in our human society. We are challenged to put love into practice. In our lives, do we really love God? How to love God Almighty with our whole being? We are to love Him by keeping His commandments found in the sacred scriptures, especially by keeping the 10 commandments. If we really love God, we have to put God first in our life. Unfortunately, we give prominence to many other things other than God and give a secondary place to God. For many people, their number one concern in life is their job, their business, their wealth, their power, their popularity on another person. If we give the best place to God, we should remember Him day in and day out. If we really love God, we may try to please Him with our words and deeds. More than anything else, we may thank God every single day for what He has given us. On the other hand, today, how do we love our neighbors in this ego-centered world? In the light of Matthew chapter 25, the church calls us to involve in corporal works of mercy. We are called to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, to clothe the naked, to shelter the homeless, to visit the sick, to ransom the captives, and to bury the dead. At the moment, we live in a world struck with COVID-19 pandemic. Through this disaster, God has given us enough and more opportunity to show our love and care to those who are weak and poor. So, this pandemic situation in our world gives a litmus test for all of us to make a special effort to love the persons who are in need of our help. Today, let us look at the Holy Cross of Jesus, the ultimate sign of Jesus' love to the world. In cross, we see two wooden beams. The vertical beam signifies our love towards God the Almighty, and the horizontal beam signifies our love towards our fellow human beings. Let us look at the Holy Cross and love our God as well as our brothers and sisters.